The big energy battle of 2022 pits proof of stake against proof of work. Cardano was mentioned 5 times in a report yesterday that was released by the White House. Cardano has returned to being above 50 cents as I'm recording this video. Let's just discuss this. Let's start with the important news. Big news, in my opinion. I'll elaborate on why. Here is the White House Energy Report for Cardano, which claims that it is the biggest proof-of-stake blockchain in the world. I want to be clear that I do not believe Bitcoin will be prohibited. But this emphasizes the evidence of stake. And in doing so, it draws attention to Cardano, which is the world's largest, most reliable, and secure proof-of-stake system. That is significant. And here it is in the report. You can just make out the cryptographic asset, Bitcoin, along with the proof-of-work consensus method. After that, Ethereum, a product of labor. By the way, Cardano is implementing proof-of-stake while Ethereum is still transitioning from proof-of-work to proof-of-stake. The fact that all of this conversation is taking on in the midst of a bear market intrigues me much. Ethereum is getting ready to transition to proof-of-stake. Cardano has been present for 2 years and has over 3,000 pools and nodes, am I correct? And I'm still learning theory. And now that the White House has released a report, I just want to show you a few things in relation to the comments that were actually said. And since it's probably difficult to see, let me slightly zoom in here. However, I was unaware that Cardano had brought it up 5 times in their remark. I believe this was yesterday. You may find the climate and energy consequences of crypto assets in the United States in the paper. You can find 5 instances of Cardano if you simply search for it, making proof of stake, used by networks like Solana Cardano, which introduced Ethereum 2.0 and is about to merge, the most widely utilized substitute for the resource-intensive proof-of-work consensus technique. And I'm simply so thrilled that they at least mentioned Cardano before leaving it at Solana so that you might keep seeking and find another Cardano reference. Here's one more after that, just talking about some proof-of-stake methods. Last but not least, it's sort of toward the bottom. Therefore, 5 times. And it really is a big deal. Once more, click here to access Data Studio on Google. I'll provide a link in the summary. You may verify some of these statistics, but all you see are stake pools exceeding 3,000. ADA Cardano is currently only decentralizing more and more. And the mechanism has just performed quite faultless throughout. Thus, the White House is now talking about Cardano. And we frequently discuss how great a technology Cardano is when we are sitting here. As ADA investors, many of us have taken note of this and have seen a lot of discussion online claiming that Cardano is a ghost chain that is doing nothing. Additionally, I believe that its inclusion in this study is a good idea all around because it brings Cardano into the conversation. And that really ought to be evidence of stake for the past 2 years. And the Vasile hard fork is currently preparing to occur. ADA Cardano ADA is just, and I say this a lot, just ahead of the game, already digging into tackling one of those enormous cryptographic difficulties, scalability. And I find it amazing that the market cap is currently hovering around $15 billion. That strikes me as remarkable and underappreciated. I just wanted to make that point. It's a significant development. Now look at us. And now that ADA is showing up on the daily chart, let's analyze what is happening. This is my issue, so before we even start to actually really look at the charts on the data, I want to show you the drawing I left from an earlier Bitcoin video. And as we approach the following week, this is the main thing I'm monitoring right now. On the daily chart of the S&P 500 index, you can just make out that we've had a few pleasant days with some green candles. You can see that the chart even breaks the blue line representing the 50-day moving average. That's lovely. The 20-day moving average is essentially where I have my concerns. That is my primary worry heading into the following week, especially because the CPI data will be out. How will this affect these charts going forward? It's a problem for one very clear reason. Crypto follows the equity markets. I am now aware of the entire story. We also need to keep a watch on things like this chart, which shows the dollar currency index. On the daily chart, you can see some red candles that are slightly cooling down. When this calms down, it will be advantageous for risky assets like cryptocurrency. What effect will this have, then? Right? Is it merely inserting a higher low at this moment? Is it poised to continue moving upward and perhaps even the following week? Then in that direction? The story here on the cryptocurrency charts will be related to how the S&P 500 index performs the next week. Right, I suppose it's not assured. But data has kind of been telling us this. We are now beginning to tie all of that information into Cardano charts. We begin to see that Cardano is bullish because, when you look at a weekly chart, it is bullish over the long run. However, that does not imply that this bear market does not have further decline. The largest thing for which I am ready is this. And I really am, I think broadly. I'm not sitting here trading all day. Rather, I have a macro perspective and long-term goals of being able to amass cryptocurrency. Given all that is happening, including the release of new CPI data, I believe that preparing for another leg down is probably the best course of action. After all, we are unsure of how the rest of this year will pan out. So it's safer, in my opinion, to always kind of anticipate perhaps worst-case scenarios, in my opinion, and this is not financial advice, might help to pay more attention there. For me, it simply helps to calm my thoughts. And it really helps me continue to make the best financial decisions for myself. Therefore, it's a major factor in why I now track these charts. Okay, I'll take that as a leg down. What does the upside look like on the daily charts? Right? Therefore, there is currently immediate opposition to the upside. And this is what I'm monitoring in this area over the short term, to the upside if it is going to move in that direction. And you can see the Fibonacci retracement in the green area. It is a lesser high. And you can see that for us in Cardano during this down market, it's always a tale of lower highs. It's this lower high, lower high. I'll also offer you an illustration. Here is a swing high for the month of June, followed by a swing low. And a nice little run is made as it comes up. If you recall, this Fibonacci channel 278-6618 was first introduced around the middle of August. That is the Fibonacci channel I employ as a means of resistance. On the contrary, too, it serves as my support. Of course, there is also nearly perfect resistance in that route. No bullish confirmation, no bullish break above this region, lower peak. And we required that. It didn't take place. We have another new Fibonacci retracement 8 coming from that lower high to the consolidation, and it falls down and bounces off of this reliable trend line. You may recall that we followed it live. We referred to it as a foolproof area of support since it touched those two trend lines directly in between them. This was the failsafe area of support 8, and when it was struck, it rose. And right now, we're sort of cruising back up to this new lower high, where the Fibonacci number is 786-2618. The 618 is approximately 53 cents. On the short term, I'm currently paying attention to the 786 at 53 cents to about 56 cents. Will ADA even reach that resistance on this daily chart? That channel there is resistance that I'm watching for. How does it interact with this resistant area if it does? Is it essentially whipping in there and just encountering opposition in a similar way? Like it did just moments ago? Is it fully ascending and testing the upper? Is it wrecking everything? If we do get a really nice breakout to the upper high 50-cent zone, does it close a daily candle above? Or is this really some sort of initial resistance? These are the things I'll be keeping an eye out for if there is a surge in cryptocurrency this weekend. Now, with everything going on, particularly as we start a new week, I find the Vasile hard fork bizarre. It's simply so close now. Right? And as we have seen historically, Cardano ADA has benefited greatly from hard fork events in the past. I don't have to show you each and every green box in this area. However, these are the hard fork occasions. Here is the hard fork of Alonzo that introduces smart contracts. You are aware that we have tracked these things if you have been following my YouTube channel for a time. The multi-asset ledger, the merry hard fork, a look at crypto or ADA pumping into those hard fork events are some of the other options. And now, here we are. But this time, a bear market is in effect. Right. And we have been thinking about that and taken it into account. Without Vasilei's hard fork, it's possible that ADA would have fared somewhat worse. At the very least, it has helped ADA trade sideways in this bear market's bottom range. But on the short term, here's the resistance that we've been tracking for quite some time now, as data has been squeezed into this bottom range. So to the upside, that's what I'm watching for, and obviously to the downside, everyone knows what's there, especially going into next week. If there is a read on the equity markets, we have this downside range of 15 to 20%. Back down to the failsafe area, that lower trend line in 41-cent range. The kind of green candle we want to see is one like this. And even at this point in the bear market, it's still a nice candle to watch. If we open the momentum oscillator and look at the RSI along with the candle, we can simply see ADA making a higher low from the swing low, when ADA was essentially observing capitulation in this bear market. The reason it's significant to me, at least, and I do this frequently, is that I simply go back historically. This is especially true when I'm reviewing Bitcoin charts because there is so much historical data available. And I merely see movements that are comparable. And this is where the 2018 bear market bottom is. And if we open up the oscillator and examine the RSI there, you can clearly see ADA simply bottoming out, rising back up, and putting in some upper low consolidation until finally, ultimately breaking above that green line up here, the 2020 week moving average. Therefore, the similar pattern is evident on the RSI and ADA, which are so close to the 20-week moving average. Take a look at this 20-week moving average, which is roughly 53 cents. If we take a look at the daily chart we were just looking at, the lower end of the Fibonacci resistance is visible there. Therefore, 53 cents represents a considerable barrier for ADA. And when I make this film, it's only a cent away. I'll be keeping an eye on that, and the weekly chart shows a really nice candle with 1 day and 23 hours left. It will be interesting to see how the weekly candle closes, and just look at all this resistance in this area, including the 200-week moving average of 57 cents and this trend line, which is located nearby and is roughly 55 cents. These are all the resistance hotspots that we have been monitoring. I will thus be watching this on ADA. I do know that everyone is ADA, though. It's merely adjusting its position. So well. In this weak market, sitting at the market cap it is at with the technology it has, and the fact that it is aggressively addressing and solving the trilemma that is in crypto, scalability. I keep saying this without meaning to sound repetitive. The fact that Cardano is targeting security and decentralization is such a major concern. And if you're a value investor like me and are out there, I just think you'll agree with what I'm seeing. And I believe that a lot of people concur. So there are my opinions. Everyone on Cardano, please share yours as we approach the weekend. What do you anticipate happening? I appreciate you passing by. If you're not already a subscriber, click the like button. For those YouTube algorithms, it means a lot to me. Enjoy a fantastic weekend. In the following video, I'll see you. God's grace.